morning, all of you. We all know that UPSC mains exam is going on. General studies papers in GS 1, 2, 3, 4 are over, including the essay. And we have General Studies paper 1. In that General Studies paper 1, today we are going to deal with the history questions. So first of all, going and discussing about the history questions, we have to understand the nature of the the kind of questions they have asked in the today's this year. If you look at the questions out of 250 marks in General Studies 1, they have given almost 6 questions for the history, and almost they carry 75 marks. It's one of the significant chunk in the entire General Studies 1. Now, in that General Studies 1, we may have certain notions that medieval India may not be important. That's maybe useful only for the prelims perspective. They may not ask any kind of questions on the medieval India. Today, UPSC has given a kind of surprise to us, and they framed almost 2 questions on the medieval Indian history. That is one takeaway we have to consider. And one more thing is that almost 3 questions they asked from the ancient and medieval Indian history. These 3 questions, they always revolves around the art and culture. So with this, we can understand how much importance the UPSC is giving for the art and architecture. Within this, one more point we have to understand that even in the art and architecture also, they wanted to connect art and architecture with the social life, society. They don't ask you art and architecture just as a piece of structures. So we have to understand, or we have to know, we should know about the art and architecture to understand the social life of the people. And the remaining 3 questions are on the modern India, and 1 question is on related to world history as well as the modern India. Now I'm going to discuss these questions. The first question is, it is from the medieval Indian history. How will you explain that medieval Indian temple sculpture represent the social life of those days? It's 150 words answer. It carries 10 marks. The question is, we have to clearly understood medieval Indian temple sculptures. They are specifically mentioned medieval Indian temple. Even within the Indian temples, we have the structures, we have the different styles and paintings. In all of them, they wanted to highlight sculptures. By understanding the medieval Indian temple sculpture, we need to reconstruct the social life of those days. So under medieval Indian temple sculptures, we got many kingdoms, like for example, Badami Chalukyas, they were in the Karnataka. Then Pallavas Indian style, temple style, that is in the South India. And we have Rashtrakutas once again in the Deccan region, and Khajuraho temples in the medieval that Central India. And if you come down to the eastern part, there we have in that southern region, we have Kakatiyas. These Kakatiyas also contributed a lot for the sculpture. Last year itself, our Ramappa temple has been selected for the UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it is known for one of the beautiful sculptures, and even up to Vijayanagaras. So we have to take these kingdoms and their contribution to the medieval Indian temple, and within the medieval Indian temple, we have to highlight the sculptures. First of all, when you start the question, you have to give a brief definition about the sculpture. So sculpture is nothing but engravings on the walls, pillars, roofs, and some of the basements of the temples. So these are the sculptures. So where exactly these sculptures are found? So you can name these kind of temples. Let's say what I have mentioned: Badami, Rashtrakutas, Kakatiyas, Vijayanagaras. Well, you can take only 4 or 5 classic temples. Out of these temple structures, you need to highlight. For example, if you take the Kakatiya temple art and architecture, there we have the beautiful sculptures which represents the different dance formats. So by understanding the sculptures in the Kakatiyas, we are getting to know about what kind of dance practices were there. In their sculptures, they mentioned about the Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, and Perini Natyam, Shivatandavam. Like that, they mentioned they have engraved these kind of sculptures. And if you look at some of the Pallava sculptures, in the Pallava sculptures, they chiseled the chiseled the figures of kings, queens. With that, we can understand what kind of jewelry they had, what was their dressing pattern, what was their understanding. And if you go to Chola temples, there we have the Brihadeshwara temple. In that Brihadeshwara temple, every year they used to conduct some, every day they used to conduct that dance and music formats. With that, we are going to know what are the different types of the music concerts, and who are the dancers, who are the musicians, what about the women's role in that. Especially in that Chola and Pallava temples, we have some temple girls, and these temple girls are nothing but the Devadasis in our in Tamil Nadu. When it comes to Telangana, it is a Jogini, and in Andhra Pradesh we call it as a Matangi. And we can understand the position of the women, as well as, for example, if you take the Badami Chalukyas, in the Badami Chalukyas art and architecture, they mentioned about some Saptamatrikas. The Saptamatrikas helped the Shiva to conquer Andhakasura. With that panel, we can understand that the woman has not been looked down as just like they are not fit for the warfare and all. But by looking at this figure, the women were very much fit, and women were able to participate in the warfare. This kind of philosophy we are going to understand. And even there are some sculptures. They have given interpretation about the creation of this universe. So now we have to understand these sculptures, reconstruct their dressing style, their jewelry, their music, their dance, the position of the woman, and the people who constructed it. So now fairly we can understand, fairly we can we are going to know about the social life of those days. So that's all about this question. And the second question is, why did the armies of the British East India Company, mostly comprising of Indian soldiers, win consistently against the more numerous and better equipped armies of than Indian rulers? Give reasons. It carries 10 marks. You have to write in 150 words. Even for this question also, it's very much easy. We have seen the British conquest of India that has started from the 1757 Battle of Plassey. So now the idea of recruiting the soldiers, Indian soldiers, into British Army has been first started by the Dupleix, who was the French governor. And from the Dupleix, the Robert Clive adapted this idea, and even the British East Indian Company, they experimented by recruiting the Indian soldiers, because it's very much costly to take or to recruit the British soldiers to participate in the Indian warfare or to participate in the Indian conquest. And there are some circumstances that forced our Indian soldiers to join in the British East Indian Company, because we don't have any the feeling of their nationalism, and there was no proper social cohesion, and even the common man, the youth, they were not identified themselves with the princely rulers. They were always busy in warfare with the others, and there is a kind of unemployment. The British East Indian Company provided the fairly decent prompt salaries that motivated the Indian soldiers to join into the British East Indian Company. So now with these Indian soldiers, they have started the conquest of India. You see, the Bengal was conquered, then Awadh was conquered, and Marathas were conquered, and later these Mysore was conquered, Punjab was conquered. Now, how is it possible? When you compare the British East Indian Company army and the Indian rulers, undoubtedly the Indian rulers' army is more in number, and even to some extent it is better equipped. Then what factors provided victory to all the British East Indian Company soldiers. If you understand the British East India Company, they have followed certain strategies. Mostly, they have provided, they got a kind of benefit that all the military generals of the British East India Company, they were all proven soldiers, proven commanders. Let's say, for example, Cornwallis, he participated in the American Revolution. So he led the army. So they are powerful military generals. They had the British East Indian Army. Along with that, these people have followed a unified command. But whereas our Indian princely states, they could not provide the unified command. And the third important aspect is that more than in the battlefield, the British East India Company, they wanted to win the wars through the strategies, through the diplomacy. They win the people of other side through the diplomacy. Let's take the British conquest of India. Before they are going to conquer or attack the Siraj-ud-Dawla, they won some of the important and influential members in the Bengal, and they have taken to their side. And you can also observe the same kind of diplomacy. When the British East India Company, they are fighting with the Tipu Sultan, they isolated the Marathas and Nizam, and they forged bonds with the Marathas and the Nizam. Somehow they could prevent it. The Mysore people to get the help from Marathas and Nizams. So now it's a kind of sheer diplomacy that gave a kind of victories to the British East Indian Company soldiers. Like that, these are the three. And the fourth point is that they have very well organized army. Though the number of the soldiers is small, but in terms of the organization, in terms of the military training, in terms of the weapons, in terms of the strategies, they are far advanced than the native rulers. So now these are the factors that help the British Indian soldiers who are in the British army to get the victories over all the Indian rulers. So these are the reasons. It is only for 10 marks questions. We can just highlight the reasons, fairly give some factors that pushed our Indian soldiers to join in the British East India Company in our introduction in just 3 to 4 lines. Then you will start giving some reasons. In those reasons, you have to back up your reasons with the facts. And the third question is, why was there a sudden spurt in famines in colonial India since the mid 18th century? Give reasons. It is also 10 marks. You have to write in 150 words. Already, it is one of the debatable, the most interested or important area in the modern India. When you start this question, first of all, give a brief introduction about the famine. What is famine? It is a continuous starvation and hunger in the country. If you give a brief definition for the famine. But as a historical, as a history student, you have to give some perspective. Famines are not at all new in our modern India. Famines are very much frequent, or we know about the famines. And India has experienced the famines even in the ancient India. Let's say, for example, during the Chandragupta Maurya time, we have the 12 years big famine. And even in the medieval India also, we have the famines. During the Muhammad bin Tughlaq time, we have famine. Famines are not at all new to India. But when you come to the modern India, the frequency of the famines has been increased day by day. Then why the famines has been increased day by day? So now we have to frame, because of the colonial policies, the famines has been increased. Now, what are the reasons? Let's say the first policy is their Jamindari, Raitwari, and Mahalwari revenue settlement systems. With these Jamindari, Raitwari, Mahalwari settlement system, they have exploited the peasants, the peasantry, because they have imposed hefty taxes. These peasants were not able to pay these hefty taxes. That is one thing. And to pay these hefty taxes, the peasantry has started cultivating the commercial crops. You see a kind of shift from the food grains to the commercial crops. Now, commercial crops, let's say, for example, indigo, commercial crops like cotton. When they have started commercial crops, now the prices of these commercial crops depends upon a world market. Let's say, for example, if there is a war between the America and the British, then you have a demand. We have a kind of demand for the Indian cotton. But whereas there is a peace between the America and Britain, now the exports from India has been stalled. And the indigo, even the indigo exports are also depends upon the new inventions that has been started in the British Industrial Revolution. Now, these commercialization of the crops, it led to the scarcity of the food grains. That is the third aspect. When you enter into the 20th century, in the 20th century, India has seen India also participated in the First World War and Second World War. And on behalf of the British, we were forced to join in the First World War and Second World War. For this war, the British has mobilized more food grains to the forces. Then obviously it created a kind of shortage in the food grains in our society. This shortage lead to the inflation. With that inflation, the people who are able to or who are affordable, they got the food grains. All the below middle class and the poorer sections, peasantry, agricultural labor, handicrafts, they were not able to get the food grains. That led to a starvation and it led to hunger. Finally, it resulted into famines. Apart from these policies, the one more policy is deindustrialization that was consciously started by the Britishers. Now, in order to increase the market for their goods, they have reduced all the customs duties on the British imports. But whereas they increased customs duties on the Indian exports to the UK. And in a way, our Indian artisans, especially those cotton textile weavers, they have lost the market in the UK. If they have to grab the Indian market, even in the Indian market also, the mill-made goods, they are very much cheap. These mill-made goods that has shattered the Indian textiles. Now, the Indian artisans, they lost the market in the UK as well as they also lost the market in the India. With that, the artisans lost the employment and they became unemployed and they are going into the rural villages and they are also participating in the agriculture. Now you see a pressure on the agriculture. It led to the disguised unemployment and it reduced their incomes. It reduced incomes. On the other hand, there is a shortage of the food grains and high inflation. And all these factors culminated and resulted into the famines like Bengal famine, Madras famine, Guntur famine. Okay, and these kind of famines have started from the mid 18th century even up to 1947. We have seen the series of famines. So now you have to highlight what is famine. You must give a historical context. That is, famines are not at all famines are India has seen the famines in ancient and medieval times, but the frequency of famines has been increased in the modern time. Then we have to name some important famines. Then we have to identify the reasons. The main the main demand of the question is that we have to provide the reasons. So now we have to trace all these reasons from the policies of the Britishers. Yeah, that's all about third question. And it's 11th question. It is the political and administrative reorganization. The political and administrative reorganization of states and territories has been a continuous ongoing process since the mid 19th century. Discuss with examples. So when you read this question in the exam, suddenly the aspirants may jump and come to a kind of conclusion that it's related to the modern India. Or some of the aspirants may come to a conclusion that it is all related to the nation states that was emerged in the mid 19th century. So as they have not given any specificity in that question, so we have to write these 15 marker answer by focusing on the world history, what were the changes happened at the world level as well as in the India. So now the political and administrative reorganization of states and territories. What happened to the reorganization of states at the global level in mid 19th century? In mid 19th century, we see the reorganization of states and creation of the states like Germany and Italy. You see, the nation states formed because of the inspiration from the French Revolution. And Belgium was formed from the Poland. Nationalism and liberalism. These are the two important principles that motivated all the different people in the Europe to form their own states. From there onwards, you see the reorganization of the entire European continent, and different states were formed on the basis of the nationalism. And at the global scale, if you understand, we have the colonization process. In 20th century, the process of decolonization started. As a part of this decolonization process, let's say in Africa, in new countries like South Africa, and there are other countries in the Eastern Africa and Northern Africa, they were all got the independence, and they formed their own nation states. When it comes to Asia, the classic example is India. As India got independence from the British, and India was divided into two countries. One is Pakistan and another one is India. It is, you see, a kind of political reorganization of our state. And even in the Southeast Asia also, there are many countries were formed out of the decolonization process. Now we have to highlight these states. It is all about the reorganization of states and territories at the global level. When it comes to India, in the Indian dimension, you need to highlight these changes from the 1857 onwards. Since 1857, okay, it is a kind of watermark year in the Indian history, because in 1857, the English East India Company lost its authority, lost its powers in India. Now the entire authority, the entire power to rule this country has been taken by the British Crown. Now the British Crown has taken the ruling authority. That's a fundamental or transformational change. That's what you can write. And later, after the 1857 revolt, there were no political conquests. Now the redrawal of national boundaries on the basis of the war has been stopped. But whatever the administrative reforms they have taken up with respect to civil services, with respect to army, with respect to judiciary, in military, and in police, these were all the administrative reorganizations. It was started, or it was taken up by all the other princely states and the British India. Other than this, let's say, for example, Indian Code of Conduct, that means criminal code, this CRPC, IPC, they were also taken up in the British India. There are some educational reforms were also taken up. Legislative reforms were also taken up. So now you can see the gradual change in the administrative setup in India. And in first part of the 20th century, we have seen the emergence of the Indian National Congress. Indian National Congress, it has started redrawing the state boundaries on the lines of the language. It means, for example, Mahatma Gandhi, he started creating the Pradesh State Congress. Let's say, for example, Telugu, Andhra State Pradesh Congress, Kerala State Pradesh Congress. Though they were all part and parcel of the Madras Presidency, now the Indian National Congress has divided its organization on the lines of the language. Now the language as basis for the political and administrative reorganization of the states. That was culminated by 1953, and with the Putti Sriramulu's that sacrifice, the reorganization of the states was started on the basis of the language. That has been continued. And in the course of time, the northeastern frontier province, that is also divided into Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland. And later in 2001, and we have taken the tribal identity. On the basis of the tribal identity, we have created the Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. Now, on the basis of the sons of soil theory, on the basis of the development. Now in 2014, we have reorganized the Andhra Pradesh into Andhra and Telangana. Like that, the basis for the political and administrative reorganization has been changed. But the phenomena of redrawal of our boundaries has been continued till date. Even now in India, there are some demands to redraw the boundaries. So now you have to start from 1857 onwards until 2014, how Indian state has been redrawn, and make some and give some kind of basis and give the examples that will mean sufficient enough for this 15 marker answer. And this question is, discuss the main contributions of Gupta period and Chola period to Indian heritage and culture. Indian heritage and culture, it is 250 words, 15 marker answer. So most of the people just jump into the Gupta art and Chola period, but we have to highlight what exactly the contribution of the Gupta period and Chola period. First of all, understand why UPSC has picked up the Gupta and Chola. Why not it is Gupta and in Pallava? Why not it is Gupta and Badami Chalukya? Means the Gupta period, they have started, they contributed, they experimented the first Indian temples, the style, that Nagara style. The Hinduism was started by the Guptans. That Nagara style is prominent and predominant in the North India. But whereas when you come to the South India, we have Dravidian style. Though Dravidian style was started by the Pallavas, that Dravidian style has reached its zenith, high watermark by the Chola period. Now Cholas are the representatives of the Dravidian style of art and architecture, and Guptas are the progenitors of the Nagara style of art and architecture. So now these two schools were asked in a different format. They are not directly asked about the Nagara and the Dravidian style. They have taken two examples. One is representative of the Nagaran style. Another one is representative of the Dravidian style. Now we have to see their contribution. While starting about the Guptan period, you have to give some basic time period of it. Then you have to see Guptan period's contribution with respect to architecture, with respect to art. In the art, we have the sculpture, we have the coins, and we need to discuss about the paintings also, and their contribution to the growth of the religion. It all comes under Indian heritage and culture. In that Nagara style, they have started for the first time that Nagara kind of temples. In these temples, we don't have any gigantic halls. We have only one Garbhagriha. Within that Garbhagriha, we have the idols. But Guptans have contributed a lot for the growth of the painting. We have seen classic paintings of Guptans in Ajanta and in Bhag. The theme they have selected is the Buddhism. Though Guptans were the supporters or patrons of the Hinduism, they equally contributed for the growth of the Buddhism. Now you see the Guptans' contribution with respect to the Indian paintings. In that Indian paintings, they have taken the inspiration from the Buddha's life, Bodhisattvas, and life events of the Buddha, and the kind of technique they have used in that painting. So you have to write a little bit about the Guptan paintings. And Guptan coins, which is one of the hallmark of their excellence in the art. In the Guptan coins, they mentioned about their names. Even they have focused about their aesthetic sense. Even they focused about their pastime activities. Let's say, for example, Samudragupta. Samudragupta used to mint the coins by playing the veena. So it talks about his interest. Now, making the coins, and those coins are also informative, was started by the Guptans. And when it comes to the Chola period, the Chola period has reached its high water mark during the Dravidian art and architecture reached its high water mark during the Chola period. And these Cholas, they have created the Dravidian temples. In the Dravidian temple, we have the multi-pillared hall, and we have Garbhagriha. On the top of the Garbhagriha, we have that Vimana, and Vimana has reached its perfect point by the Cholas. And Chola's uniqueness is they have focused on the gopurams, which are the entrance gates. We have to highlight that. Then when it comes to the sculptures, the hallmark of the Chola period is the bronze Nataraja sculptures. So you need to mention this point. And even they have used some of the lion motifs in their structures. Even they emphasized on the the paintings. You can see there are some Chola paintings in their temples. Let's say, for example, Karanganada temple in the Sittanavasal. There we have the Chola paintings. So now this is what you can say about the contribution of Guptans and Cholas. But you should not stop there only. Guptan period, Chola period, Nagara and Dravida. Because of this Nagara and Dravida, we have seen the emergence of the Vesara style. So these two periods, they contributed for the growth of the Vesara style. So that is also we have to highlight it. Next question is, discuss the significance of the lion and bull figures in Indian mythology, art and architecture. Now it is the question mostly, it is out of the box. We never thought of it. No standard book of UPSC has emphasized on this dimension. So now, but it is to some extent related to the present day current affairs. 2 months or 3 months ago, there is a lot of debate about the Sarana, the lion capital that was used in the parliament. So now there is a lot of debate. So now we have to see how lion and bull figures were used in our mythology, art and architecture. Mythology means it is also past, but it doesn't have any evidence. But mythology comes under our culture. So now we will take lion. For example, lion for the first time used in our mythology. So where it was used exactly? It was used from, let's say, for example, Vaishnavism. In Vaishnavism, we have Lord Vishnu. That Lord Vishnu incarnated as Narasimhavatara. So there we have the lion. And lion is a vehicle of the Durga, goddess Durga. So here also lion was used. These are with respect to Hinduism. But if you go to Jainism also, in Jainism, there is a traditional founder of the Jainism is Rishabhanath. Rishabhanath. Then the 24th Tirthankara is Vardhamana Mahavira. That Vardhamana Mahavira's symbol is a lion. So that you can also trace the using of lion in the Jainism. Even in the Buddhism also, we have Sakya tribe. Our Buddha belonged to the Sakya. That's why he is called as Sakya Muni. And Buddha is also have another name. That is Sakya Simha. Sakya Simha means among all the Sakya people, the Buddha is considered as a lion according to Buddhist legends. So now lion has been used in our mythology, as well as lion has also been used in our art and architecture. And we have the lion symbols from the Indus Valley civilization. In the Indus Valley civilization, they mentioned about some mythic animals on the seals. In that mythic animals, half lion and half male. And these kind of mythic animal is called as Gilgamesh in our Mesopotamian civilization. Then when it comes to Mauryans, the Mauryans have used lion in their rock edicts, rock pillars, especially that Ashoka. That Ashoka has chosen the lion. Lion is a symbol of the majesty, strength, and power, authority. And lion is the lord of the entire jungle. But by the time Mauryans, the Ashoka was the lord of the entire Indian subcontinent. So in order to propagate the Ashoka Dhamma, one of the brainchild of the Ashoka, he has picked up 4 lions. These 4 lions are majestic and they are roaring. What they are roaring? They are roaring the Ashoka Dhamma. So now Ashoka has selected the lions for his capitals. So then after the Ashokas, when you enter into the medieval India, we have the Pallavas. If you go to South Indian temples, the Pallavas have selectively used the lion. And we have the halls, mandapas. In all the mandapas, they are being supported by the pillars. Now, in Pallava's temples, they have used squatted lion as a base to the pillars. So now lion has also been used in art and architecture. So now we have seen the mythology, art and architecture, where we have used the lion motifs. Then when it comes to bull, the bull is one of the traditional animal, traditional symbolic figure in our mythology. So we have seen the bull as one of the sacred animal in the Indus Valley times. It is in the humped bull. Now that humped bull transformed into Nandi in the Shaivism. Nandi is one of the the favorite vehicle for the Shaivites, that Shiva. And Nandi god gods the entire Kailasa in our mythology. And Nandi or bull has also been used in the seals of the Indus Valley civilization. And in the Mauryan times, bull capital was also used. So now, and bull is known for the fertility and prosperity. It represents the kind of our economy, agricultural economy. Symbolically, so this bull and lion has been used in our mythology and art and architecture. We have to divide the answer. In one dimension, we have to see lion in mythology, and then a lion in art and architecture, bull in mythology, bull in art and architecture. So now that's all about the present this year's UPSC GS1 mains. So thank you very much.